Hello, and thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Sentinels to Digital Edition Waiting Room. Today I will be doing the first in a series where I will be playing against every villain in the game using the Freedom 5 team. As a reminder, the Freedom 5 team contains Legacy, Tachyon, the Wraith, Absolute Zero, and Bunker. I'll be fighting every villain in order, according to this list here on the Tabletop Simulator mod at least. I'll be playing them on the advanced difficulty, and I will be doing random environments for each. Now you'll notice there aren't enough environments to play a unique environment for each villain. I'll just play through all of them, and then once I've gone through all the environments, I will add them all back to the pool and then randomize them again until I've completed every villain. Couple of notes for today. Baron Blade does have a little bit of a clock on me with his advanced end phase effect. With a 5-hero team, he will be milling 3 cards per turn, which is somewhat considerable. I could find myself in a position where I only have about 3, possibly 4 turns to flip him before he's reached his 15 cards or more instant win condition here. So I am going to want to be mindful of that. This means that cards from Legacy such as Thok doing 5 damage, and cards from Bunker and Absolute Zero doing direct damage, and eschewing setup time may be something I have to resort to. Wraith will also probably find herself in a position where she has to contribute more damage than utility, but we will see. And then we select our environment randomly. We've gotten Rook City. Now this is one of the more difficult environments in the game, but I'm actually happy to see it because I'm getting this difficult environment out of the way on an easier villain, so I don't have to worry about it later. This is good. The other one I'm worried about is Pike Industrial. The rest of the environment's not going to bother me so much. Okay, couple of notes for this matchup. The nemesis for Baron Blade is going to be Legacy, so we will be dealing and receiving 1 damage from each other. Other than that, he has a decent amount of damaging effects, but not enough to where I'm too worried about the safety of my heroes, so Absolute Zero should be free to go all in on the offense without needing to deploy the null point calibration for healing. Additionally, there's going to be a lot of targets that I want to just leave on the table, besides this, of course. So having incidental AoE damage may be a detriment for me. Mostly that's going to be coming from Tachyon, so something to bear in mind. And priority number 1, if I can get this mobile defense platform off of the table on my first turn cycle, that would be ideal, because that will be cutting off this end phase effect, which will be providing him with a potential additional discard and or card play each turn cycle. With that all said, let's go ahead and get started. So he has no start phase effect. He doesn't have the requisite cards in graveyard for this, so we go to his play phase. His card is Blade Battalion. This is a 5 HP minion, which is going to deal the hero target with the highest HP damage according to its own health. That's a decent amount of damage, but this is a really good thing to show up because it is not going to be accelerating his graveyard. I would say the cards we're most worried about from Baron Blade are Haste and Doom, which will be playing itself doing AoE damage and then playing another card on top of it. And there is an ongoing, which will prevent a little bit of damage coming from me, and also it's going to mill H scaling amounts of cards from the top of the deck. So those are the 2 cards we really don't want to see. So I'm happy with this. Anyway, we go to the end phase. He's going to discard H-2, so that's 3 cards off the top of his deck. Power Turret, don't care. Haste and Doom, we've got one of those out of the way, that's good. And lastly, a Jet Jump Battalion. Okay, so 1 Haste and Doom out of the deck, we're happy to see that. 3 cards in the graveyard. Next we go to Mobile Defense Platform. End phase effect will reveal the top card. If it's a minion, he'll play it. It is not a minion, so he'll discard it. This one's not a big deal. This is a decent amount of damage outcoming, but we're not worried about damage from Baron Blade, as I said, so don't care about that card much. And then lastly, Blade Battalion will be dealing highest HP hero 5 damage. Highest HP is Legacy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. Now we go on to the hero phase. Start phase, no effects for Legacy. Play phase, it's probably a no-brainer on Inspiring Presence. Yeah, don't even have to think about that. So I'll play that. We're going to increase damage dealt by all of our allies. We would heal them if they had taken damage, but they haven't, so we won't. There we go. Now we enter our power phase. We're going to use Galvanize. That's going to increase their damage dealt a little bit more. And then lastly, we'll enter draw phase, draw one card. End phase, no effects, pass turn. Tachyon, start phase, no effects. Play phase. Okay, so this turn's kind of autopilot. We're just going to play Pushing the Limits, which in the play phase gives me an additional play. I'm going to play HUD Goggles. In the play phase, this gives me an additional play. And then lastly, I'm going to play Accelerated Assault. This is going to do 1 AoE damage. Increased by 2 equals 3 AoE damage. Baron Blade is immune, so we're doing 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. This being at 2 HP is good for us, and I did happen to notice ahead of time that this Abduct and Interrogate is present in Wraith's hand. Typically, I would hesitate to kill a minion like this on the board, but Abduct and Interrogate, in exchange for putting 1, possibly 2 cards in Baron Blade's discard pile, will accelerate my team so much that it's worth possibly losing a turn on the clock from Baron Blade. So this is a pretty good outcome for me. Play phase over, power phase for Tachyon. I'm going to use my base power, reveal the top card of my deck, and I may draw it or discard it. I'm going to draw it. Now I enter my draw phase. I would draw 1 card normally, but I draw an additional card due to pushing the limits. So 2 cards. 1, 2. This is a good card. I'm happy to see this. Next, I enter my end phase. No effects. Pass turn. Wraith's turn. For my play, I am just shotgunning Abduct and Interrogate. This is going to deal 1 target, 1 toxic damage, and if the target is destroyed, I reveal the top of each deck, and I can either discard or play any of those cards. Well, all of those cards. One or the other on all those cards. So let's go ahead and just deal 2. We're doing 1 plus 2, so 3 damage to the Blade Battalion, which does kill it. Since I've killed it, I'm revealing the top of every deck. I'm actually not sure if I shuffled this, but this is fine. There we go. Okay. So, what order would we like to do this in? I'm actually fine playing this remote walking tank, as the alternative would be discarding it, and I would prefer to have fewer cards in the discard if possible, and this is a very non-threatening card to be out. So I'm perfectly fine with that just being played. Looking at the environment, I would just discard that. And then lastly, looking at every hero, Heroic Interception. This is going to deal 3 damage to Legacy in exchange for preventing damage to the whole rest of my team. I'm not sure if I want to do that actually. Mainly because how much damage am I expecting to come through next turn? Highest HP is taking 5. Highest HP is probably going to be Bunker at that time. So it would prevent 5 damage at the exchange of 3 to Legacy, possibly more depending on what Baron Blade plays. So I'm not preventing too much health loss. We're talking like 2 health loss right now, possibly more. So I'm going to discard this so that Absolute Zero can contribute to killing Mobile Defense Platform. Tachyon has Expedited Efficiency. This is good. I would like to... you know what? I got a better idea. Let's put that back. And then I'm going to actually have Tachyon go... Ooh, this is actually a little tricky. I want to play that for sure. I want to play that for sure. I want to play that for sure. I don't want to play that, so Tachyon's going next. Playing this, drawing 1 card. Now I'm playing 2 cards. One of those cards will be Fleet of Foot. This means everyone draws the top card of their deck. That way Legacy gets to keep a powerful tool without it interfering with what's going on right now. Alright, this gives me an additional play. That additional play can be another Expedited Efficiency. This is going to draw me a card, and I can play 2 cards. I'm just going to draw some more cards. Another expedited efficiency. All right. 2 card plays from that one. That was the first card play for this one, so I get 1 more card play for that one. That card play will be Sonic Vortex. That Sonic Vortex is going to do 3, 4, 5 damage to up to 2 targets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to stop there. I want to keep that turret alive. That was the second play for this expedited efficiency, resolved. Fleet of Foot's extra play, resolved. Now this expedited efficiency has an additional play as well. We're going to play Sucker Punch. That's going to do 1, 2, 3 damage. 1, 2, 3, and now I've met the hard condition here, which will destroy the mobile defense platform. Very good. Baron Blade is no longer immune. And that is all the plays for Tachyon. And then lastly, I believe since I've drawn the top card of Legacy's deck, and this card stipulates discarding or playing the revealed cards, I do believe that this will have no effect on Legacy, is my understanding. So this will have fully resolved, and that card play is complete. Now I enter the power phase for Wraith. Can't really do much besides use the hero power, which is give myself -1 damage taken until the next turn. And then I'm going to enter my draw phase, draw 1 card, end phase, no effects, pass turn. Absolute 0. First thing I want to do is set up. I do see that I have isothermic transducer already. This means that I can go ahead and start building out. I also have high yield coolant tanks, so the other pieces I'm looking for in terms of dealing the most amount of damage as quickly as possible are going to be 1, the powers, which will deal damage scaling off of the fire and cold damage I have taken, and also 2, the item which will increase cold damage dealt, which is what I want to search for now. So I'm going to play Desperate Deployment, and I'm playing this first for a reason. You'll see why in a moment. This is going to... No, excuse me. I want to play this first. Isothermic, I play it. This grants me an additional card play, and then I play Desperate Deployment. That's going to summon a card. Well, specifically, it's going to summon an item. The only item I'm really concerned about right now is Focused Apertures. That's going to give me +1 cold damage dealt. Meanwhile, this is making, anytime I take fire damage, I will be redirecting it as that much cold damage after I've taken the damage. So redirecting is a bad word to use, but I will be using that same damage against my opponents. Alright, so I've summoned. Now I deal myself 1 fire, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3 fire. 1, 2, 3. Now this fires off, and it's going to deal 3 cold damage, +2, +1. So 3, 4, 5, 6 cold damage total. And we're just going to pump this into Baron Blade. Our goal is going to be to just flip him as soon as possible, and we're not really worried about Absolute Zero's health at all. Baron Blade doesn't have anything I'm worried about that's going to snipe him from low health. So, oh, and yes, I'm also dealing myself 1, 2, 3, 4 cold damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Desperate Deployment is resolved. Next, I enter my power phase. I use my hero power. I'm going to deal 1 fire damage to myself. So that's 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. That's going to redirect as 3, 4, 5, 6 cold damage. Put that on Baron Blade. Very good. Alright, power phase over. Draw phase, draw 1 card. End phase, I have an effect. High yield coolant tanks. I could either use a power or draw a card. Since I've used my hero power already, and this is a once per turn thing, I'm going to draw the card. Very good. Alright, Bunker. Start phase, I have an effect. Place 1 ammunition on mounted AP gun. Play phase. I do have upgrade mode, which seems like a no-brainer. Using upgrade mode... Oh, I've dropped it. There we go. And then I can, in my end phase, use Tactical Command and Emergency Shielding, likely to be the choices I make. Yep, let's go ahead and run it. So let's put upgrade mode out. When this is played, I'm going to summon an item. The item I'd like to summon is Flak Cannon. The reason I've chosen Flak Cannon is because when I have two guns out with no acceleration, right, I'm able to just alternate between the two guns every turn. So next turn, Mounted AP Gun will have 2 munitions, he can fire it for 8 damage. The turn after that, Flak Cannon will have 2 ammunition, can shoot that off for 5 plus 5, 10 damage, and I can alternate the guns accordingly. Now if I find acceleration, which would be this expendable power bank, I can reconsider, but for now I would prefer that over charging up an Omni Cannon, especially because Omni Cannon does not solve the problem that we're currently faced with, which is flipping Baron ASAP. Alright, I've summoned Flak Cannon. I cannot use powers, so I'm going straight to my draw phase. I'll draw 1 card, and then in my end phase I can play 2 cards. Drawing a second tactical command is interesting. I can just pump out even more damage, which I may actually consider doing. So let's start with tactical command. We're going to target Absolute Zero. Absolute Zero is going to do 1, 2, 3 fire damage to himself. 1, 2, 3. This is going to redirect as 3, 4, 5, 6 cold damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. Alright, this is resolved. Now I get to play my second card. I actually don't know if I want to use another power. I could use it on Tachyon to draw 3 cards, because Tachyon's next turn looks terrible. In fact, that may be a good idea. Do I have any card draw coming from Legacy? I do not. Yes, I think that might be a good choice. The other choice would be Emergency Shielding to prevent a little damage. That's not very attractive. So I'm going to do this, use it on Tachyon. Tachyon will use Research Grant to draw 3 cards and then discard 1. Okay, this is exceptional, so that paid off big time. And I think I am happy getting rid of HUD Goggles for my discard. Alright, in phase for Bunker resolved. Now we go to the environment. Plays the top card. We've gotten Bruce. Was it Watkins? Yeah. If there were smear cards in play, he would be immune. And when he is destroyed, he's going to discover a smear card. In the end phase, he is also going to discover a smear card. Let's go find one. We found one. Alright, this one says, when an environment target is played, a hero would discard 2 cards. And now in the end phase, this is about to happen right now, each environment target deals the hero with the highest HP 1 Sonic. So, we have 1 environment target. The hero with the highest HP is Bunker. He's going to take 1 Sonic damage. Alright, environment turn is over. Not a bad start from Rook City. Start phase for Baron Blade checks the graveyard. There are 6 cards out of 15. We have plenty of time. Entering the play phase, he plays Consider the Price of Victory. This is the card that I'm scared of. This will reduce the damage dealt by heroes by 1. This is going to hit Absolute Zero particularly hard, or it would if Legacy wasn't double buffing the team already. Additionally, at the start of the next turn, each hero will have to discard a card. He'll do a little bit of damage, and most importantly, he will be discarding 4 cards from the top of his deck. Very scary. That basically skips a turn in terms of his hard win condition. But we're not worried about this. In fact, we're probably flipping him this turn. So now we go to the end phase. He's going to discard 1, 2, 3 cards from the top of his deck. That is another Haste and Doom and a couple of other moderately inconvenient targets. So we're happy to see that. Next, Remote Walking Tank will deal the hero with the highest HP 5 damage. The highest HP is still Bunker, who will take 5 damage. And that is the end of the villain turn. So we roll around to Legacy here. This could be a good time to put out the Heroic Interception, but do I have a better choice here? If I Flying Smash, that would kill Bruce Watkins, which would discover a smear card, which of course he was going to do in his end phase anyway. Be good to get him out of the way. That would also put a little bit of damage on Baron Blade. In fact, before I forget, let's go ahead and mark the -1 damage from that ongoing. Now there is a possibility that either Tachyon or Wraith draw into ongoing removal from the card draws of Fleet of Foot. Oh, in fact, it's already present right here. So I'm going to just mark that damage back up because I'm going to be removing that card very shortly. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play Flying Smash, bearing in mind Legacy's damage is reduced. So it's going to be 3 damage to 3 targets, -1, so 2 damage to 3 targets. So it's going to be 1, 2, 1, and 1, 2, 3. It's 3 on Baron Blade because he is my nemesis. That is resolved. Power phase, going to reapply Galvanize, draw phase, draw card. End phase, no effects, pass turn. This actually isn't bad. That's going to give me a lot of burst with Absolute Zero next turn. Tachyon's turn. At the start phase, pushing the limits will be dealing Tachyon 2 fixed damage, or rather Tachyon will be dealing herself the 2 fixed damage. Next, I'm going to play a card. I'm going to play Fleet of Foot. That draws everyone 1 card. I see she found her ongoing removal as well. Not so worried about it with Tachyon because Tachyon is doing irreducible damage, so that -1 damage dealt is not affecting her at this time. My card play is going to be another copy of Fleet of Foot. I found a good card for Tachyon. It's going to draw me more options, so I will do that. Draw 3, discard 2. The 2 I'll discard will be a copy of Pushing the Limits and a copy of Blinding Speed. That is the completion of my first play phase action. I have 2 additional card plays I can do, so I'm going to... This would be a good time to Sonic Vortex, or I could Nimble Strike and draw a card and see if I can keep going. I think that might be better. Let's do that first. It's going to do 2, 3, 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draws a card. Okay, not bad. And then last, for my third card play, I could do one of these AoEs here. Sonic Vortex or Accelerated Assault. Accelerated Assault is enough to get rid of Bruce Watkins, so I'm going to do that first. I'm not too worried about killing this device right here. So that's going to do 3 irreducible. 1, 2, 3 to every 1, 2, 3 enemy target. 1. This is dead. When this died, it's going to discover a smear card. Where are the smear cards? There's one. This one says, after a villain target is played, each hero will deal himself 1 psychic, and in the end phase of the environment turn, each hero will be discarding a card. It's inconvenient, but it's past the point where I care about discarding cards, so that is fine. That is my 3 card plays for Tachyon, so now I go to my power phase. For my power, I will be using Research Grant. Draw 1, 2, 3 cards. Another Fleet of Foot. Very good Tachyon game today. My discard will be Research Grant. Draw phase, draw 2 cards. End phase, no effects. Pass turn. Wraith's turn. Back to 0 damage taken because this power is worn off, and I hope I won't have to use it again. What do I have? I do have the ability to use another Abduct and Interrogate. In fact, I think I'm going to do just that, but first, let's do a Grappling Hook. That's going to destroy an ongoing. There we go. And then now the -1 damage debuff is officially gone, so this +2 is accurate for everybody else. I get to draw or play a card. I'm going to just play another Grappling Hook, and I can get rid of one of these. Let's see here. I'm less worried about this damage, so I'm going to just get rid of Media Pressure. It is out of there. And I get to play another card. I'm going to play Abduct and Interrogate again. That's going to do 1, 2, 3 damage to the Remote Walking Tank. There we are. 11 cards in his discard pile, and I reveal the top card of every deck. And I can play them or discard them. Tony Taurus, I will be playing. He's beneficial to me. Very good. Jet Jump Battalion, I will be playing. Mostly because I just want fewer cards in the discard, and this will be trivial to deal with. Actually, you know what? I am not playing that because it accelerates. Forget I said anything. He's being discarded. Next, Legacy has True Hero. That's a free one to play. He's just going to draw 2 cards. Then he's going to have everyone else gain 1 HP. Very good. Tachyon has HUD Goggles. I am going to just discard that. And then I have Throwing Knives. I'll play that. Horfire, huh? We'll come back to that in a moment. Upgrade mode. I can play this to get a... well, I could play it, except it's limited, and there's another one out already. So I will just discard it. And then lastly, we had Horfire. Deal 1 target 2, 3, 4, 5 cold damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Deal 1 different target 2, 3, 4 fire damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to redirect as 4, 5, 6, 7 cold. 7 cold to Baron Blade is exactly enough to flip him. So we'll flip him to this side. When he flips, he would get rid of his ongoings, and he sets his HP to 30. 30 HP on Baron Blade. Baron Blade also has his advanced mode, -2 damage taken. We'll mark that in for him. This lines up well with Bunker having the mounted AP gun ready to fire. Lastly, I'm going to deal myself 1 cold damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, because of the upgrades, and 1 fire damage, 1, 2, 3. That's going to bounce off as 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. I'm going to put that on Baron Blade, reduced by 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are. This might be a good time to start healing up Absolute Zero, if possible. It's not possible from the look of it, but I do have Still Life, which is perfectly good. Or I can just fizzle him out in a blaze of glory, do a little bit of extra burst, and then die, which is perfectly fine, because Baron Blade probably is dead next turn. Alright, Abduct and Interrogate resolved, all my grappling hooks resolved. Entering Power Phase. In my Power Phase, I'm going to use Throwing Knives. That's going to do 1, 2, 3 damage, and I'm only going to do it on Baron Blade, so 1 damage after the reduction. Very uninspiring, but the utility from these Abduct and Interrogates has been more than worth the floundering that Wraith is doing. Draw phase, draw 1 card. End phase, no effects. Pass turn. Absolute Zero's turn, no start phase effects. Enter play phase. So let's see. What kind of output do I have right now? And is it worth me dying to put it out, I guess is the question I should ask. So fire damage to myself would be 1, 2, 3. So I can afford to do a little bit, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 damage to myself on top of my power phase. That would be something like, well, Frostbound Drain kills me. Cold Snap kills me with my power. Horfire. This actually doesn't kill me if I targeted the environment target. In fact, this is just enough where if I did 2, 4, 5 cold to the boss, that'd be 3 damage to the boss after the reduction. And then I would deal the environment target 2, 3, 4 damage, fire damage, and then I would deal myself. Now that kills me as well. I think this is definitely a still life. The chip damage I'll be doing through the reduction isn't worth dying. So I'm just going to still life. This is going to select Baron Blade, who cannot deal damage. And then next turn, this is going to give me a draw and a play. Next, in my power phase, I can zap myself, or I could just wait till next turn, hoping to find a way to sustain my health a little bit. If I zapped myself, I'd be doing 1, 2, 3, bouncing off 3, 4, 5, 6, doing 4 damage to Baron Blade. Is that worth? I think that's worth. Actually, I don't think it's worth, because if I do this, there's no way to heal him up. So I'll just save the final Blaze of Glory for next turn. See more options. Skip power phase, draw a card. Alright, this is going to guarantee I can heal up next turn, so I got rewarded. End phase, I can use a power or draw a card. I'll just draw another card. Bunker's turn. Start phase, 2 effects. Load up my ordinances. Next, go to my... this is dead. Go to my play phase. This could be a good time to do a good old-fashioned turret mode. Why not? Let's do a turret mode. It's going to increase my damage dealt to 3. I get 3 power uses. First power use is going to be my hero power. I'm going to place the top card of my deck under Flak Cannon. Next, for my second power, I'm going to use Mounted AP Gun. I send 2 of my ammunition to the discard pile. I'm going to do 6, 7, 8, 9 irreducible damage. That's going to reduce Baron Blade to 16. Very good. For my third power, I'm going to use Flak Cannon twice. I'm going to get rid of 1 ammunition at a time. Each time I do this, it's going to deal 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. So I'm just going to do that twice. That's 6 against this 2 reduction, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 against the 2 reduction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Next, I'm going to go into my draw phase, draw 1 card, end phase, no effects, pass turn. Environment turn, no start phase effects. Play the top card. It is an ongoing. The only effect we care about here is the end phase one, so we'll get to that in a moment. End phase for anti-hero. Each environment target deals the hero with the highest HP 1 Sonic. That's a Tony Taurus. He's going to attack Legacy for 1 Sonic damage. Ouch. Next, we have Tony Taurus. A hero may discard a card in order to destroy an ongoing. I think I will do just that. Legacy's never going to play half of these cards, so he's probably the obvious choice here. Let's get rid of Bulletproof Skin. And we'll just get rid of Despair and Decay so we don't have to discover any targets, which may or may not be helpful or harmful to us. We don't need the help because we've guaranteed got the win here, so no risks. Baron Blade's turn. Start phase, no effects. Play phase, his card is Powered Turret. We are not worried about this 1 iota. That's going to be +1 damage if there were other devices for this card. End phase, he would be dealing damage, except he can't deal damage. So none of that does anything. So now we go to Powered Turret. This is going to deal each hero target 1 damage. That is fine. 1, 1. In fact, before I do that, 1 to you and you. I've got a couple of reactions to deal with. Let's do those first. First, we have Combat Prowess. This is for Wraith. I'm going to reduce that damage by 2, and since this has reduced it to 0, I get to play a card as Wraith. The card I would like to play doesn't really matter, so I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to play Smoke Bombs. No, that's dumb. Yeah, I'm going to play Smoke Bombs so I don't have to bother doing damage to anybody else. Which means, before I do this to Wraith, actually I should do it to Tachyon first. So I'm going to do Tachyon's reaction. I can draw a card or play a card. The card I'm going to play is going to be Fleet of Foot. Let's see if we can't just end this right here and now on the villain's turn as a reaction to him trying to hit me. Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to do... Let's just draw 3. Find the finisher. Get it done. I found the finisher. Discard any 2 cards, doesn't matter. All that's resolved. Since I played a card, Synaptic Interrupt is dead. And then I take the 1 damage. Now Wraith is going to reduce it to 0. Wraith's going to play a card, play Smoke Bombs. Nobody else takes any damage because Smoke Bombs is reducing damage to all hero targets. So this card doesn't do any more damage to anybody else. Next, Legacy's turn. Play phase, I'm going to skip. Power phase, skip. I get to draw a card. End phase, pass turn. Tachyon, deal 2 damage to myself. Enter play phase, play Lightspeed Barrage. This is going to do 22, 23, 24 irreducible to Baron Blade, which is enough to reduce his life to 0. This marks the defeat of Baron Blade and the conclusion of our first episode in the series. Thank you for joining me today. Tune in next time for Citizen Dawn Advanced on another random environment. Until then, have a good day.